The struggle of trying to be better than everybody else. Well, that can be a bit of a hopeless effort in that you can only be as good as you can possibly be with the talents and the effort that you put into something. Talent does have a big role, and it does have a big effect on a lot of people's abilities with drawing. But that doesn't mean that you can't be a good artist. It doesn't mean that you can't create things that are interesting or different and creative and new. So I always did have a bit of a problem when I was younger with comparing myself to other artists, comparing myself to what they're creating, and thinking that I'm never going to be able to draw as well as them. It's not possible for me to create something that elaborate and detailed. And I didn't think I really had any talent. But even though I didn't feel like I didn't have any talent, I wanted to do something different. And I talked about this a little bit in another video, where I talked about how long it was and when it was that I discovered that I was different than other people that were creative or other artists in general, was that I didn't feel that I was talented, but I felt that I had this passion, this drive, and this interest in it so much that I kept pushing myself. And when I did have this point in my life to where I was comparing myself to other people, when I was comparing myself to other artists that were very talented, or maybe they had been drawing for 10, 20 years, was that I started to lose touch of why I started drawing in the first place. And the reason I started drawing many years ago when I was younger was to express the ideas that I had that I wasn't allowed to, or I wasn't capable of expressing in the life around me, be it with family or friends or at school or anywhere. It also allowed me to deal with a lot of stressful things that I was dealing with in life, and I started to lose the whole point of why I started drawing. And then I started to get too focused on what other people was creating. I got too focused on worrying about how good they are, thinking that talent is everything. But let us just think for a moment, what if talent was everything? What if talent was what separated the absolute best from someone just below them? Well, maybe that's true, but the point of doing anything in life isn't really to try to be the absolute best in the world at it. Because there's always going to be people that have more talent than someone. There's always going to be somebody that has a higher capability of doing something just because of the life that they were given. Just because of maybe they have something about them that makes them smarter, or maybe they learn faster, maybe they have better hand and eye coordination that allows them to draw better. But the whole point of it isn't to try to be better than everybody else. It's to be as good as you can be and enjoy the process of getting there, of improving every step of the way, and to look back and say, despite all of this, despite everything that I've had to deal with art or in life and everything in general, and despite all the problems I've had to deal with friendships and family and everything else and social interactions and getting over so much, I can look back on that and say to myself, I overcame all of that to get to where I am now. What point would there be of me stopping and giving up now if I've put this much effort in? Because the point of it isn't to try to be better than everybody else. You have to realize that you're doing it for yourself. If you go out there and you constantly think to yourself that you can't do something, or that you don't have the ability to do something because you don't have the talent, then you've already lost. You've already given up. You can compare yourself to other people to improve, but you don't want to make that the focus of it. You don't want to make the whole idea of what you're creating and everything that you're doing to be something that is a pursuit of trying to be better than other people. Because what happens when you're better than everybody? Do you have a challenge? Who do you challenge then? All you have left to challenge yourself. But if you've gone the whole distance, if you've gone through that much in your life, and all you've done is compare yourself to other people, and then you have nothing to compare it to, and then you have nothing to challenge yourself, and then you give up, then there's no hope for anything else. I mean, what would be the point of doing anything if you're automatically at the end goal already? The enjoyment of doing a lot of things in life is the journey through it, the excitement in living in the present and knowing that you overcame all these things to get to where you're at now. And when I was comparing myself to people, when I was really worried, it was a point in my life where I was really down on a lot of things. I had a lot of stuff going on. I had some people that I knew that had passed away. I had had a surgery, and I was low on income. I didn't have much of any money left at all. I didn't really have much of any food to eat. I was dealing with a lot of stress. And to think back on that, of everything I was dealing with, and my living situation, and the problems I was having with family and friends, and everything that was going on, if I was to give up then just because I was going through a tough time, and I lost touch of the whole reason I started this and why I do this, then I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't be here talking about this. Because certainly if I was to give up just because of the fear of something, such as talking in front of a camera, when I first started this, I didn't know really how to talk in front of a camera. I mean, do I still even know? Do I know how to use a microphone properly? What is the best way to use a microphone? What is the best way to have your light set up? What is the best way to have your camera set up? We start worrying about all these little tiny details, all these little minute things that we overthink and we over-worry about before we even get started, and it stops us from even making that first step. So don't go out there comparing yourself to everybody around you, trying to be better than everybody else. Just focus on yourself. Focus on doing the things that you enjoy. Focus on doing the things that make you happy, that give you that passion, that you wake up every morning and you're excited to do it. You're happy to do it. But it could be something that might not make you happy to do in the morning. An example of that would be if I have things to do the next day. Let's say I have a bunch to do tomorrow, and I have to work out. I have to work. I have to stretch. I have to make a bunch of meals. I have to clean. I have to pay bills. I have drawing. I have audio editing. I have video editing. And then I've got to upload all this and put all this together. Then, like when I wake up in the morning, I might not enjoy getting up at 4 in the morning and then putting all that work into it. It feels monotonous and repetitive. But when I look back on it, when I go to sleep at night, I realize that I accomplished something that day. That despite all the effort that I'm putting into it, that I made it through that. And day in and day out, I keep doing it. And if I was to just think to myself, I'm never going to get to where I want to go, I'm not going to be able to accomplish anything, as I said, I would have just... You lose before you even get started. That's with anything in life. And so, before you ever tell yourself that you can't do something, the first thing you gotta do, depending on what it is, think realistically, but think creatively and positively. It's not always the smartest minds or the smartest people that find the answers to things, to solve things for their life. A lot of times it takes some creativity, and creativity might not always mean that you're the best at something. It might not always mean that you're the most intelligent, or the fastest, or the strongest, or that you have the best talent. Creativity can be something that just depends on the state of your mind, which anybody can alter and change, and that's completely up to you. So go out there, keep doing what you're doing. Don't compare yourself so much to other people. Do what you're passionate about, do what you enjoy, and just keep having fun. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and let me know below the video. And until then, I'll see you later, and have fun creating.